What made the popular kid at school the unpopular kid? A guy at my school got drunk at a party, got naked and inserted his penis into a Jim Beam bottle and ran around all crazy like with it attached but not having to use his hands. At the time it was quite a laugh, but it wasn't until a day or so later people thought about how small the opening was to a Jim Beam bottle. That was basically the end of him. There was one kid in my class who was the son of our maths teacher. He was crazy popular, because he was able to help everyone out with their homework for that class. Turns out he was actually snooping through his dad's notes to get the answers. The teacher naturally got super suspicious after a while, so he deliberately made a fake answer sheet. Of course, the kid grabbed it and noted it all down. It was full of wrong answers so blatant that anyone who even slightly paid attention in class would know they were way off base. The kid handed out the answers anyway, and in an instant made about half the class bomb, and his popularity dropped like a rock as they all accused him of deliberately making them fail. They moved him to another class and they never had an incident of cheating again. Having a set of keys given to him by the school, WTF, I know. Because he was one of the really popular kids, then using those keys to break into the school and steal $30 caught of woodworking/metalworking tools. He shit his pants. I remember a guy at my school kept on asking to use the restroom, and the teacher kept refusing. Eventually, he went up to a trash can, dropped through, and took a shit. This was middle school, but nevertheless, folks remember it to this day. If that was my school, he would have been a legend. Exactly. We had a kid whip his dick out and pee in the trash can after giving warning to the teacher that if she didn't let him go he was going to, quote, drop pants and piss in a trash can. The guy was a legend for that power move, complete with the follow-through too. We had a kid in our school who acted rich like a lot. New phone. Expensive clothes, expensive accessories, watches, rings, necklace, etc. So he invited select few people, myself included, to his house for a small party. The thing is, when we got there, it was a small apartment in a rundown complex. We learned that his parents worked double jobs with extra shifts to pay for all his stuff. My heart broke a lot that day from the way he acted towards his parents and so ungrateful. He was caught selling cigarettes and weed. He reportedly assaulted the favorite teacher of everyone at my school. Everyone loved that teacher because she was so nice, and from then on hated the popular kid. There was a guy at my school who sold cigarettes to the new kids. One of my friends reported him after he was offered one, and got that kid expelled, but then became a drug addict himself. There was an Asian girl who was well liked by everyone, smart, happy to help anyone struggling in class, and was generally a nice person, but her uncle scammed a lot of people in her community, including parents of kids that went to our school. She went from being well liked to being bullied. Still, she dropped out of school. Rape. He was at a graduation party that I had the misfortune to attend, and his ex, who was also there, was asleep on the couch. He took her upstairs to get her away from all the noise. 5 minutes later we hear her scream and a "get off of me." She comes running downstairs, frantically pulling up her pants, and runs out. She told us what happened after a few days. The guy heard and tried to break into her house. He's in prison for assault and battery. He gave her a black eye while he was upstairs, rape, and breaking and entering. She's in therapy, and we are housemates now in college because she goes out with the girl I'm sharing the house with. When I was in primary school, the popular kid thought it would be funny to flush the class pet, a hamster called Nibbles, down the toilet. All the kids thought the hamster would have drowned. He quickly became known as the hamster killer. He ended up changing schools for another reason. BTW, the hamster survived. I don't know how pipes work, but I heard the caretaker eventually found him. The school still gave Nibbles away after that. A popular guy in my year pissed himself during an exam in our gym hall. Unfortunately for him, the biggest asshole in our year was sitting directly behind him. He immediately stood up and yelled, "He pissed himself." He proceeded to get teary-eyed and say, "It's my energy drink." It spilled over and over before the exam supervisor literally dragged him out of the hall. 2 weeks later he returned to school the unpopular kid and kept a low profile for a while until it eventually died down and he climbed the social ranks once more. That is until an episode of The In-Betweeners, a popular TV show in the UK, aired in which one of the main characters shits himself in the exam hall and it reminded everyone of what happened, effectively nuking his popularity all over again. When she made fun of me in front of everyone, for wearing a yellow shirt to school. It was just a plain yellow shirt and she somehow found a way to mock the color. It was so unnecessary and made her look like someone who was just rude for no reason. Everyone quickly realized that she thought people were automatically on her side cause she was somewhat rich, and she just became a joke after that. He fucked his friend's mom at a party. Let's call popular kid A and his friend B. B's mom was arrested, as she should have been, and B faced torment from basically everyone that knew what happened. Kid A continued to brag about his actions. Eventually people gained sympathy for B and Kid A lost his popularity real fast. I was relatively popular. I was in JV basketball, marching band, mathletes, and track and pretty much made friends with everyone, until my best friend at the time claimed I pushed her down the stairs and caused her to have surgery on both legs. Thing is, I was at my grandmother's funeral in another state the entire week she claimed it happened. While the teachers kept us apart and understood my side, none of the others really believed me. Except the anime club. They believed me. Go Eebs. Not exactly popular, more like the king of the assholes, but he had a project in mind, bullied the newcomer to get some fresh fame for his bite apostles. The target, a Greek exchange student, nice guy but quite a meaty boy, 150 plus kilos, and a wrestler. I watched. No fucking way I was getting in the middle of a bitch slap tornado, and my regret as of today is the lack of camera smartphones back then. Bully cunt got his jaw broken, and lost 5 frontal teeth, dislocated shoulder and 3 fractured ribs. Legally speaking, he only defended himself and also played his defense on his weight, blaming the bully of making him lose his balance and by doing so, fell on him. It's not entirely false. Bully cunt got back 2 months later, still suffering from his injuries, shunned by his previous peers, stayed about 2 weeks and then never came back. I went to school from 4th grade to high school with a kid my age whose father was a prominent city official in our town. Even though we lived only a few blocks from one another, we were in different worlds. My background was much more blue-collar and unfortunately I lived in an alcoholic and physically violent household. For these and other reasons I never understood. His mother despised me and she wanted her son to have nothing to do with me. She actually called my mother once to suggest that she keep me away from her son, since our class in life was so very different. I found him smart and funny and fascinating and we pulled around. He wore slacks while I wore jeans and his suede shoes were much better than my sneakers. By our high school years, he was a football letterman while I was a band geek, and he was in college prep while I took vocational courses. We still knew each other but he was in a college track and I was living day by day. As graduation approached, we learned that his parents had worked with the local congressman for his appointment to West Point. Wow. Tragically, the night of graduation he and his girlfriend went out with him driving drunk on a country road. He hit an oak tree and she was killed. That's the last I ever heard of him. But once in a while I Google his name just to see if he might surface somewhere. I sometimes think of how mortified his status-conscious mother must have felt, and wonderful about his girlfriend's family and of course what happened to my friend who killed someone just before his life began. I wish him well over 40 years later. I'm just not sure what happens when life seems to be laid out before you with concrete expectations and it all goes so tragically wrong in the blink of an eye. He didn't exactly become unpopular but my high school's star quarterback recorded a video of himself fingering his butt and he sent it to a girl in a neighboring school district. The video got passed around there and made its way back into our school, and he got socially vibe-checked. But he didn't really lose his popularity, it was just sort of lessened, and he actually became a way better person after the fact. He still never learned that you can't throw bullets when playing indoor football in gym class against non-football players though. Threw a hockey stick, hollow-ended, into the special needs kid's eye socket. He claimed it was accidentally only, but was caught bragging about it on his Snapchat story. He then said, his words, "Not mine. He doesn't have any hope though. So what does it matter? The kid needed surgery that his parents had to pay for, as it was cosmetic." The kid moved to a cheaper schools a week later. There was a girl who was really popular, and then she got pregnant and had an abortion, and one of her shitty friends told other people, and then everyone called her a slut and started rumors like saying she got the abortion because the dad could have been one of 10 different guys. It was awful. High school bullying in the 2000s was a mess. There was a really pretty girl that was quite popular in my high school. She was a bit snobby to people and sorta rude. I recall one time she threw a textbook at my groin because I was leaning back in my desk and thought it was funny. I guess it kinda was thinking back. She also liked to make fun of the fact that I was Mexican on more than one occasion. Anyways, she gained significant weight our junior/senior year in high school, and I guess a lot of the popular kids decided to disown her for it. I never actually heard anything, but I recall her sitting all alone at lunch one day. Not my best moment, but I walked by her, pointed, and plainly said, "You earned this." Stopped coming to school. Didn't even do her exams in the end. Just sat at home and smoked weed all the time. Didn't even work. She just got boyfriends who would pay for everything for her. Became spiritual, got the Hindu symbol OM tattooed on her finger, got dreadlocks, etc. Posted weird photos on her Instagram. It's hard to explain, but she just sort of became weird. I once heard her talking to a bunch of 13-year-olds about how her boyfriend just got out of prison. She also always spoke about wanting to have a baby. This weed-smoking, non-working, 18-year-old girl wanted a child. In the end, nobody in my school even spoke to her anymore. Even her friends didn't like her much because she was sort of a bitch. She was popular because she was super pretty and smart. It's sad. She obviously has no direction in her life. Her only qualifications are the exams we did when we were 15. Her brother and sister were still in the school. They were really nice and basically the opposite to her. I hope they do well. My grade school most popular kid was a fake-ass bully that only was popular because people feared him and so they wanted to please him. He bullied me for 6 years. Then we got to middle school and there people started to bully him for his weight and looks. I will never forget the day, years after grade school, when I ran into him again and he was a friendless, depressed mess that begged if he could hang out with me. My God, what was it satisfying to just laugh at him and walk away. Still, it has been over a decade and truly hoped his life and personality turned out for the better.